welcome in. Let me turn my light on so it's a little bit brighter in here. So, hello everyone, welcome into another episode of Matt Sports Talk. And I know I mentioned in my last video that I recorded last week, previewing all of the upcoming Crossroads League national tournament teams from the Crossroads League, I should say, that will be into the tournament. And I wanted to record a video today doing my official national tournament bracket prediction of who I think is going to go all the way and take home that red banner in Sioux City, Iowa. 2 weeks from tomorrow is the national championship game. And now I'm still going to record a video recapping all of the opening round matchups. I hope to do that Saturday morning, recapping all of the Friday games for both the men and the women, and then of course recapping the second round games if the Crossroads League schools advance into the second round, doing a recap video of that next Monday, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. So without further ado, we are going to dive right into my official NAIA National Championship Tournament prediction, and we will, before I do that, again, I'm going to quickly go over all of the matchups. Starting in the first round in the Dewar quadrant, 1 Campbellsville, and again, these are the tournament seeds, by the way, all these numbers. 1 Campbellsville, 16 Lourdes, 8 Mobile out of Alabama, 9 Williams Baptist out of Arkansas, 4 Dakota State, 4 Dakota State, 13 Montana Tech, 5 Governor State out of Illinois, 12 Arizona Christian, 3 Briarcliff out of Iowa, 14 Spring Arbor out of Michigan, 6 Lewis Clark State out of Idaho, 11 Columbia out of Missouri, 2 Mid-America Nazarene out of Kansas, 15 Kansas Wesleyan, 7 Mid-America Christian out of Oklahoma, 10 Northwestern College out of Orange City, Iowa, 1 Indiana Wesleyan, 16 Philander Smith out of Arkansas, 8 Grandview out of Iowa, 9 Olivet Nazarene out of Illinois, 4 Georgetown, Kentucky, 13 Jamestown out of North Dakota, 5 Providence out of Montana, 12 College of Idaho in Idaho, 3 St. Francis, Indiana, 14 Indiana Tech, 6 Rio Grande, Ohio, 11 Stillman out of Alabama, 2 Freed Hardman, Tennessee, 15 Johnson, Tennessee, 7 Florida Memorial, 10 IU Northwest. On the other side of the bracket, and again, the bottom part of the first bracket was the Liston quadrant. This other side of the bracket, the Naismith quadrant, 1 Dordt, Iowa, 16 Indian Haskell out of Kansas, 8 St. Francis, Illinois, 9 Rocky Mountain, Montana, 4 Langston, Oklahoma, 13 Blue Mountain Christian, Mississippi, 5 Dakota Wesleyan, 12 the Masters out of California, 3 Marion, Indiana, 14 St. Xavier, Illinois, 6 Oregon Tech, 11 Milligan, Tennessee, 2 Cumberlands, Kentucky, 15 Eastern Oregon, 7 Shawnee State, Ohio, 10 Loyola, Louisiana, the Kramer Quadrant, 1 Bethel, Tennessee, 16 Sterling out of Kansas, 8 Benedictine, Kansas, 9 LSU, Alexandria, Louisiana, 4 Hastings, Nebraska, 13 College of the Ozarks, Missouri, 5 LSU, Shreveport, 12 Huntington, Indiana, 3 William Carey, Mississippi, 14 Lindsey Wilson, Kentucky, 6 Xavier, Louisiana, 11 Southeastern out of Florida, 2 Southern Oregon, 15 UC Merced out of California, 7 Wayland Baptist, and 10 Carroll. So, starting on this side of the bracket, Dordt, Haskell in the opening round. My prediction is Dordt advances into the second round between St. Francis, Illinois, and 9 Rocky Mountain. This is really a toss-up. Both teams played really, really well in the regular season. They both went really far in their conference tournament. Rocky Mountain won their conference title. St. Francis of Illinois, I believe, advanced into the semifinals. This is a toss-up, honestly, but I have St. Francis out of Illinois playing Dordt in the second round. The next matchup, Langston, Oklahoma. Now, for Blue Mountain Christian, they ran their conference tournament as an 8 seed. Langston, on the other hand, is extremely tough. This is might be an extremely close game, but I have Langston prevailing and ending Blue Mountain Christian's Cinderella run. and advancing to the second round. Between Dakota Wesleyan and the Masters, this is another super tough matchup. Both teams play in a super tough conference, but I have Dakota Wesleyan advancing and playing 4-seeded Langston in the second round. And then the Indianapolis, Indiana bracket, Marian and St. Xavier. Both these teams played in the regular season. I have Marian easily defeating St. Xavier. Marian beat them by 21 points in the regular season. I don't see the game on Friday night being any different. Between Oregon Tech and Milligan, these are really two really good teams. It could go either way, but I have Oregon Tech winning this game and advancing into the second round to play Marian. And then between Cumberland's and Eastern Oregon in this bracket, I have Cumberland's easily winning in the first round. Shawnee State and Loyola, Louisiana. This is another super close matchup. Shawnee State won the regular season, and Loyola out of Louisiana, I believe, was the number 2 seed in their conference tournament. This could go either way, but I would have to give the slight upset nod to Loyola out of Louisiana in this game, advancing to play Cumberland in the second round on Saturday. And the Kramer quadrant, Bethel, Tennessee, 16 Sterling. This could be a really good matchup. And again, before I give you my picks in this bracket, if I need to, I'm going to record a second video talking about making these predictions all the way to national title, since all of this might be a little bit too long to fit in one video. So I think I'm going to record a second video here in just a few minutes. So again, make sure that you stay tuned for that. So in this particular matchup, Bethel versus Sterling. Again, Sterling was a 6 seed in the KCAC tournament. They are an extremely tough team to beat. They're on a Cinderella run. Bethel out of Tennessee, on the other hand, another really good team. They play out of the Mid-South Conference. This one, I think, is going to be a lot closer than what most people think, but I have Bethel of Tennessee winning this game, ending Sterling's Cinderella run. Between Benedictine out of Kansas and LSU Alexandria, both these teams are really good. However, LSU Alexandria upset LSU Shreveport when they played in the regular season. Of course, LSU Shreveport went on to win the regular season and the conference tournament as well. I have LSU Alexandria with a slight upset here, advancing to play Bethel out of Tennessee in the second round. And in that pod, Bethel of Tennessee being the host site, I might add. The next matchup in Hastings, Nebraska, 4-seeded Hastings, 13-seeded College of the Ozarks out of Missouri. Now, College of the Ozarks, they've had an up-and-down season. Hastings, on the other hand, Hastings has some really good wins this year. They played Indiana Wesleyan tough down in Hawaii in December. For Hastings, they upset Dordt in the regular season, and they just didn't beat them by a few points. They beat them, I believe, by 15, I think it was 15 to 20 points. I have Hastings easily winning this opening round matchup against College of the Ozarks. And in the next matchup, LSU Shreveport and Huntington out of Indiana. Again, this is a really tough matchup for me to predict because LSU Shreveport has only 3 losses on the year. One of those 3 losses was in conference and was to LSU Alexandria that I talked about a minute ago. Now, for Huntington, on the other hand, they have some really good upset wins this year against Cumberland's. And nearly a big upset win at home versus Indiana Wesleyan, even though Huntington fell 2 points short in that matchup. Then for Huntington, they had that huge upset win against St. Francis at home back on February 1st, a 21-point win against Spring Arbor February 15th, an 8-point loss to Spring Arbor in the Crossroads League quarterfinals, in a game where Huntington had multiple key players as far as that goes and foul trouble. And despite that, Huntington gave it all they had. So this is a super tough matchup for me. I have this matchup really, in my opinion, this could go 50-50 either way. But if I had to give a slight edge toward one team or the other, I would have to go with LSU Shreveport in this game. I think it's going to be 3 points or less, especially if Huntington can keep playing as red hot as what they have been in the month of February. But again, I think this is really a 50-50 toss-up, and Huntington, I think, talent-wise, is way better than a 12 seed. But if I had to give the edge, I would have to give LSU Shreveport the win here by 3 points or less, and Shreveport advancing to play Hastings in the second round on Saturday. The next matchup, William Carey versus Lindsey Wilson down in New Orleans, Louisiana. Again, this is another super key matchup. Lindsey Wilson, they're out of the Mid-South. I know they're 16-13, but they have been on a Cinderella run as of late. William Carey, on the other hand, got upset by Blue Mountain Christian in the first round of their conference tournament. William Carey, going into that game, was undefeated, by the way. So this, again, could be a really, really tough matchup. I obviously will give the nod to William Carey here, defeating Lindsey Wilson, although I think it will be by 10 points or less between Xavier and Southeastern. Again, Southeastern is out of a Sun Conference, and Xavier out of Louisiana, I believe, was the number 3 seed in that conference tournament. I have to give the edge here to Xavier with the win here, matching up with William Carey in the second round. Between Southern Oregon and UC Merced, Southern Oregon 31-0 this year. They've had a couple of close games. I have to obviously give the win here to Southern Oregon. Probably, in my opinion, I think it will be at least a 20-point victory for Southern Oregon, and they will advance into the second round. Wayland Baptist and Carroll out of Montana. Again, these are two really, really good teams matching up, but in my opinion, I have to give the nod here to Wayland Baptist, although I think for the Flying Queens, it will be within 6 points or less because Carroll out of Montana, they're a super good team. I know they're 19-9 this year, but they play in a super tough conference, and I think this could go either way, but I have to give the edge here to Wayland Baptist. So in this bracket, or on this side of the bracket, I should say, which teams make it out of this bracket into the Sweet 16? It could go either way, but in my opinion, between Dordt and St. Francis of Illinois in the second round, I have Dordt advancing to Sioux City, Iowa, and into the round of 16. Dordt, of course, is the defending national champions. Between Langston and Dakota Wesleyan, I have Dakota Wesleyan with a slight upset victory over Langston, and Dakota Wesleyan will advance to Sioux City into the Sweet 16, and so that is the matchup that I have. Dordt and St. Francis out of Illinois in the Sweet 6, or excuse me, Dordt, I should say. Dordt going to the Sweet 16 and matching up with Dakota Wesleyan. Then Marion side of the bracket, I have this one is really, really tough. Now, for Marion, they're a team that could either lose early or go far. Now, for Oregon Tech, they're trying to beat Marion in the second round, as Oregon Tech beat them in the Final Four game back in 2019. Now, this one could go either way, but I have to give the slight victory to Marion. I think it's going to be super, super close, but I have Marion advancing into Sioux City in the round of 16 under first-year head coach Santana Anderson, defeating Oregon Tech in the second round. And for Marion, I have them matching up with Cumberland's. I think Cumberland's is going to obviously beat Eastern Oregon in the first round. I have Cumberland's upsetting Loyola, or not upsetting, but I have Cumberland's beating Loyola out of Louisiana in the second round. So I have Marion versus the Cumberlands matching up in the Sweet 16 out in Sioux City. And then the bottom side of the bracket between Bethel out of Tennessee and LSU Alexandria. This one is a super, super tough matchup. Bethel, Tennessee, they're on a hot streak lately. LSU Alexandria also is. LSU Alexandria only lost to LSU Shreveport by 3 points in the national championship game, or not the national championship, but their league tournament game, I stand corrected. And in this particular matchup, this could go really either way. But in this matchup, I'm going to go with Bethel out of Tennessee with a narrow victory over LSU Alexandria to go into the Sweet 16. So Bethel out of Tennessee, I have advancing into the Sweet 16. And between Hastings and LSU Shreveport, who does Bethel out of Tennessee match up in the Sweet 16 round out in Sioux City, Iowa? This one, again, is super, super tough. But in my personal opinion, I have LSU Shreveport advancing to the Sweet 16 and playing Bethel out of Tennessee. In that round, I have LSU Shreveport beating Hastings. I think it's going to be under 5 points in the second round, but a victory nonetheless for Shreveport, and they will advance to Sioux City, Iowa, and play Bethel out of Tennessee. The next matchup between William Carey and Xavier, who do I have advancing out of that bracket going to the Sweet 16? I have William Carey defeating Xavier out of Louisiana. I think it's going to be 10 points or more in that second round victory for William Carey, as they will advance to Sioux City, Iowa here next week. Who will they play between Southern Oregon and Wayland Baptist? In my opinion, I have to go with Southern Oregon. Southern Oregon, they're 31-0. They're easily going to defeat UC Merced in the first round. And for Southern Oregon, I think they will beat Wayland Baptist in the second round. I think it's going to be 6 points or less. But for Southern Oregon, they will advance out of their pod and face and match up with William Carey in the Sweet 16 round in Sioux City, Iowa. And now I'm going to record a separate video here in just a second talking about which teams from this side of the bracket are going to advance to the national championship game. And then I might have to record a third video talking about the other side of the bracket, which of those teams do I see advancing to the at least of a Sweet 16 round. And then, so again, there might be at least 2 to 3 more videos following this one as a continuation of my official NAIA national tournament predictions. Make sure that you stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, please either like, comment, or subscribe. If this video was helpful to you, and any one of those options helps me out greatly. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.